welcome back to my channel. This is Rachel, the stress management coach for all you leaders, entrepreneurs, professionals, and other high achievers. So, today I wanted to talk a little bit about how sometimes, as high achievers, we can use our goals as distractions. Okay, so let me preface this by saying, first and foremost, excuse me. There's nothing wrong with goal setting, right? In fact, it is highly encouraged for us to set goals, to track progress, to constantly strive to hit the next level or the next target, right? We're encouraged to set smart goals, set short-term goals, long-term goals, all of those things to help us stay on track with the things that we want or the things that we say we want in our lives. However, when we become solely focused on goal setting and reaching goals, so much so that it is becoming a distraction to aid in avoidance of the other things in our life or to keep us from dealing with or facing other challenges in life, right? So, in those cases, when we are constantly setting goals, constantly trying to check the boxes in avoidance, that's when goal setting becomes more of a hindrance than it helps us. Okay, so I'm going to go over just kind of 5 ways that goal setting can become a distraction, and then talk about 5 ways that you can help yourself make sure that the intention of your goals is really to reach the next step and not to avoid something that's difficult. Okay, so the first challenge with goals being a distraction is that we can use our goal oriented nature as a coping mechanism. And what I mean with this is that we can use our goals or our want or desire to strive for new things to actually avoid deeper issues. And so, goal setting and achievement in that way is then used to stop ourselves from confronting, like I said, those deeper issues. Are there any personal or emotional issues, let's say like self doubt or any relationship problems or any unresolved trauma that we may be trying to avoid by doing the next thing or reaching the next goal or striving for the next thing? We can also stay busy by trying to escape our feelings. So, are we, for example, working extra hours or trying to get the next degree to avoid, anxiety or fear or any loneliness? Is it has it become to the point where we feel like our constant productivity, or if we constantly keep ourselves busy, then we can avoid feeling all these negative or uncomfortable feelings that might come with being still, right? Um, on the same note of talking about stillness, sometimes we use goals as a distraction because there is a fear of being idle, right? For some of us, downtime means that we're being lazy, or we equate that to being unproductive or falling behind in some way, right? So we use this busyness, this constant doing, to avoid feeling like we're not doing enough, right? We can also feel the void of achievement by being uncomfortable in that rest and reflection, right? So if I'm constantly busy, if I'm constantly doing, if I'm checking the boxes, as I said, if I'm making sure I'm being productive, then that allows me to not reflect on myself, to not get in touch with my emotions, or to not even allow myself to rest, right? So I'm going and I'm constantly in go mode, or now I'm running on fumes and I'm not even realizing that I'm actually causing myself more hurt because I'm trying to reach the next goal or trying to do the next thing. Sometimes that fear of idleness also comes from feelings of inadequacy, right? Or even feelings of uncertainty. Um, the third way that our goals can become a distraction is if we are chasing validation through those accomplishments, right? So maybe there's some part of us that are experiencing feelings of self worth. And so our worthiness is coming from the achievements, right? I did this thing, so I'm okay. I did this thing, so I can validate myself. Other people will, give me gold stars and congratulate me or tell me what a great job I'm doing. So I can keep achieving because I don't have to feel that inadequacy because people are telling me I'm doing good things, right? And so when we have a need for constant achievement, sometimes that new goal is a new way to prove our worth, right? And distract from our deeper issues dealing with success. So while you may not feel like you're enough, you actually are enough just being who you are. Like the accolades and the achievements don't necessarily define you in any way, right? So it's important to realize, okay, am I setting these goals? Am I doing these things just so people can tell me I'm okay? Okay. Another way that our excessive goal setting or achievement can get in the way is if we are causing ourselves burnout from overachievement. So that could look like excessive goal setting to the point of exhaustion, right? So are we using goals as a distraction to overextend ourselves, right? If there's ever a problem at work, are we the first ones to jump on to try to help? If somebody in our family needs something, are we volunteering ourselves, the PTO for the kids, or the different committees at church or in our organization, right? Are we the first ones to jump up and say, "Hey, I can do it. Pick me. I'll do that thing," right? And so just overcommitting ourselves to the point of exhaustion and not realizing that we're actually burning ourselves out the whole way, right? Another way goals get in the way and become a hindrance is if we start to neglect our well-being trying to do all the things, right? So focusing on those goals may distract us from meeting our emotional needs and neglecting our self care. It could look like, again, being physically exhausted, but then mentally and emotionally exhausted as well. And then the last area I want to talk about as far as our goals as a distraction is the impact that it can have on our personal relationships. Because if you think about it, if we're spending so much time checking the boxes, reaching the goals, doing all the things, how much time do we have to pour into our relationships? And that could be our relationship with ourselves, our partners or our spouses, our children, our family, our coworkers, our friends, right? So if we're neglecting a relationship, we may be trying to avoid the emotional intimacy that comes with building relationships, right? And that becomes a challenge with building the intimacy in our relationships, not, and also having deeper connection within our relationships. When we spend so much time focusing on the goals and less focus on our relationship, then we end up with strained connections, right? Or we have very surface level relationships. So, ask yourself, do your relationships feel deep and meaningful? Or do they feel surface level where there's kind of a arm's length between you and the next person, right? If so, that might be a clue that you are distracting yourself from some deeper issues just by staying busy. Okay. Also, our loved ones may feel disconnected from us if we are investing so much of our time outside of those relationships and not really spending time in that personal engagement. Okay. So let's talk about some ways that you can help yourself when it comes to goal setting to make sure, again, that the goal setting is just for the things that you want to do and not avoiding the things that you don't want to do, or the things that might feel uncomfortable for you. So the first thing we can do is identify a balanced approach to our goal setting. So basically, we want to set the goals that align with our personal fulfillment, our emotional growth, rather than just using them as a distraction. Okay, so our goals should serve both an external success and then also internal well-being. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is embracing that reflection and introspection. So that's allowing ourselves to slow down enough to get in touch with, what am I thinking, what am I feeling, and what do I want to do with this, right? And so our personal growth, we want to make sure that we are incorporating that reflection into our goal setting routines, and then allowing for a more holistic approach to our success. So again, we're not just checking boxes for the sake of checking boxes, but everything that we're doing is integrated with the larger self that we're trying to create. The third way that we can bring more balance into our goal setting is to learn to be more present. So this goes along with that reflection and introspection, but really practicing mindfulness and learning how to embrace and lean into present moment awareness really allows us to have more balance with our self care. And so, whereas sometimes our goals allow us to be more distracted, when we're able to be in the present moment, we could just sit and decide how we want to proceed versus constantly reacting to the things that we feel need to get done. Okay? The fourth thing we can do for ourselves is have more purpose driven goals. Okay, so instead of setting goals that just distract us from either uncomfortable emotions or discomfort in our relationships or any personal challenges, we want to make sure our goals are focused and purpose driven that align with number one, our values, but then will also lead to deeper satisfaction because, again, we aren't just setting goals for the sake of setting them, we're setting values aligned life aligned goals that make sense to who we are at our core. Okay. Then last but not least, we want to take all of that and just integrate all of our goals, right? So we're integrating our personal goals, our emotional goals, our career goals, our relational goals, and making sure, again, we're back to that holistic balance to give us that sustainable success when it comes to goal setting. So again, goals in and of themselves aren't a bad thing, right? We need goals to make sure we stay on track with the things that are important to us. But when we are using those goals as a distraction to avoid from some deeper things going on, that's when we really want to make sure we check in with ourselves and check ourselves to get on track. So, with that, that'll end this lesson for today. Drop in the comments if you have any questions or concerns, or what have been some of your challenges when it comes to goal setting. I'd love to hear from you. Again, thank you for watching, and please make sure you like, subscribe, and share with somebody who needs it. Bye.